In 2019, Arin, Domix, Jaiden, James, and I went on tour together for Scribble Showdown. You might have seen Jaiden Animation's animation. That's me, I'm the guy who couldn't poop. We were planning to go on tour again, but we had the Groundhog Day known as 2020. So in November of 2021, we were back on the road. Except this time, instead of Domix, we had Emirichu, because America said to Domix, "No, stay, stinky boy, no cross line." But this story isn't about what happened on tour. No, if you want that story, go watch James's video. This is the story of how this bus make me scream. The reason we use a bus over flying is so we can perform in one city and then go and then wake up 8 hours later in another. For some reason, the movement of the bus set off my fight-or-flight reflex, causing my brain to come up with new and original ways to torment me in my sleep. It was like the nightmares were an N64 and the bus was a rumble pack attachment for my brain. The mattress felt like a Nokia phone. Because the rocking bus caused me to wake up and go, grab my phone and take notes and sleep in ease, the language you use when you try to text someone but you're half asleep. If the driver turned around a corner and my body was flopping, my brain would get a burst of inspiration and be like, he's naked in a barrel. Hungry gorillas are shaking the barrel. The gorillas are the IRS and he has unpaid taxes. While some of these nightmares did escape my waking mind, here are some of the ones that I can recall. I'm on a slippery rooftop, it's raining. I look below me to see thousands of undead snarling and groaning, wanting a taste of my sexy booty. But they dumb, I fast, they slow. I feel like zombie dreams are pretty common for people, but the bus meant I could feel myself losing balance and the ground shaking from the mosh pit of undead below. I decided to make a run for it, jumping from rooftop to rooftop. The zombies gave chase below, but after a few buildings, I jumped, slipped, fell. The horde closes in on me from both sides and starts devouring me. Waking in absolute terror with your heart thumping out of your chest in a dark, cramped space is cringe. Most of the dreams I could trace back to the events of the prior day. I believe this one came about because I was telling everyone how poggers the tour bus would be in a zombie apocalypse. I later learned that a tank of gas is over $500, so considering food and gas would be the first to go, probably not great. Each day of the tour felt the same. I would be woken up by our tour manager Matt just in time for soundcheck at 2 p.m. I would walk into the venue's green room to be met by a chipper Emily asking,
"Hey Ross, how did you sleep?"
To which I would always respond, like crap. Due to not sleeping good on the bus, I would generally take a nap, then at 6 p.m. we would do the VIP Q&A session, then at 8 p.m. we would do the show. At 10 p.m. we'd wrap, and then I'd immediately go play Halo in the green room, and then we'd be back on the bus by 12 a.m. Because of this, the days really did start to feel like they were blending together. My facial hair was starting to grow out because I forgot to pack a razor, so people got a rare look at me with facial hair. I unfortunately cannot grow sideburns, just a ring of hair around my mouth with disconnected whiskers on my cheeks that make me go nyah. This next night in particular, I had a very unusual dream. It started on a small spacecraft. I was with my girlfriend Giwi. She wanted me to smuggle her into space school, a large spacecraft that was apparently an academy for gifted minds. So I wrapped her in space bubble wrap and carried her in with my luggage. The tour bus provided the feel of being on a moving spacecraft, so it felt very real. When we did finally get on board, the headmaster of the school was none other than basketball sensation Shaq. Giwi burst out of my luggage and started yelling at him. Turns out that Shaq was my girlfriend's surrogate father, and she had previously been expelled from space school. The argument got so heated that Shaq went smack and punched her in the face, and said that she brought great dishonor to their family. Then the dream snaps forward. I'm in my laboratory, and I'm wearing my own yellow Bumblebee Transformer-inspired Iron Man suit for testing purposes. I came up with an amazing, innovative method of controlling the suit by using my eyebrows like The Rock to control the thrusters. Suddenly, a super nerd rival student busts into my lab, revealing his monstrously scary killer puppets. He's here for my head. The puppets are terrifying. With each sharp movement, they make audible clicking and snapping. Their teeth are razor sharp, and they are very clearly here to kill me. Overall, I felt that their presentation was very well done. They start ripping the armor off me limb by limb to try and get to the juicy flesh beneath. They go for my helmet, and then suddenly...
Good morning, Ross! Wanna come to a garden?
Now, the crazy thing about dream journals is that while I remember all the details on reflection, the half-asleep written notes I have to go off for this script actually look like this. Sneak girlfriend into spaceship school and deciding I wanted to be a Iron Man suit specialist control suit with brows like VR face ... She was expelled, and Shaq was her father, and full punched her for come back to the spaceship school via some clean wrap bubble fetal positing. The remarkable thing is that when reading this, it all comes rushing back in full detail and actually makes sense. The human brain is weird. Anyway, today was our day off, and Emily wanted us to go to a local botanical garden in Georgia. Dazed and confused, I hauled my butt out of bed. I spent the day wandering through the garden looking at cool plants and cute reptiles. But the majority of the time I was just on my phone reading One Piece. Later that night after the garden, I got a video call from my sister in Australia. The minute she picked up and saw my facial hair, she said, "Oh my god, you look like Iron Man." I had a moment of pause, remembering the dream from the night prior. Both the dream world and the waking world were merging. The days were playing out the same. The borders of reality and fantasy were fading. Luckily, it was time for Thanksgiving, so we headed home for some big fat eats. After our Thanksgiving break, we were back on tour again, and we all sat around as our tour manager Matt told us ghost stories. He claims he hadn't previously believed in ghosts until he had some haunting experiences at a venue in Newport, Kentucky. While in the dressing room, a rocking chair started moving on its own. Next, he heard a piano playing in the old piano bar upstairs. He walked into the room to find no one there. He went downstairs and asked the owner what was going on. He was told that a father killed his 2 children and wife in that hallway and then hung himself. Now, because of Matt's a big spooky story, this next dream was a traditional vanilla flavor of nightmare. Arin and I were in a classic haunted mansion that had blankets on top of all the furniture. Cobwebs littered the corners of all the rooms. An aggressive spirit was hunting us, so we took cover under one of the furniture's blankets. We could hear the approaching footsteps on the wooden floorboards, when suddenly, the entire house started to vibrate. I looked at Arin with confusion. What's that rumbling? To which Arin simply responded,
"Don't worry about it, man. It's just a tour bus."
I looked at Arin with confusion. What? I get up from under the blanket, run to the window, pull back the curtain to see the tour bus is waiting outside the haunted mansion. I snap awake, it's 3 a.m. I couldn't get back to sleep till 6 a.m. What is wrong with you? You think this is a joke? You realize my suffering is your suffering. Why do you do this to me? Now, the next night, while laying in my bunk, I got a text message from James. It was a picture of my phone charging cable. It had fallen down into his bunk below me. I pulled it back up and went to sleep. Suddenly, a dozen arms resembling James's bust up. They started grabbing me, pushing me down into the bed. I snap awake, heart thumping. Okay, that was weird. Was that a nightmare, or do I want James to I managed to fall back asleep, and this last dream, I'm not sure if I can call it a nightmare, because reading it back, it doesn't seem scary and it makes very little sense. So I'm just gonna read this exactly as it is on my phone. Dreamt a bad guy hacked James's Pokemon Go account and was using it to draw squiggles on Jaiden. Caught him and changed the password, and he told us he was going to make deepfakes of all of us that made us George Lucas. I laughed and said, "That's hilarious." So I did it voluntarily and went around ranting about the movie Luke Strikes His Dad. Ranted about how Luke striked his dad in the face, but I was all wiggly and broken while doing the rant. Then apparently I was woken up to Friday by Rebecca Black playing on the bus. And that's where my dream journal ends. Huh. Well, that was stupid. Anyway, if you want to come see our live show, we're traveling to Europe this April to go to all these places. So go to scribbleshowdown.com and get your tickets because they're going fast. Also, if you like the video, please consider subscribing. It really, really helps out. Bye.